If you want more Cincinnati Bengals draft coverage, hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/Bengals TV. We will be here all offseason long with mock drafts galore for you guys. So don't miss out on any of our coverage. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/Bengals TV. All right, coming up on today's show, we're going to be talking about Daniel Jeremiah's new mock draft. Daniel Jeremiah, of course, works for NFL Network, and I always like Daniel Jeremiah's mock drafts because they're a little bit more different than some of the other mock drafts that you get from a lot of other of these gurus out there that cover the NFL, and we will work through all the picks that he has leading up to the Bengals selection at number 17 overall. So let's get it started here at number 1. He's got the Tennessee Titans taking Abdul Carter. He was the first guy that I saw mocked Carter number 1 overall. Look, this guy's a freak now. Make no mistake about it. The Micah Parsons comparisons are real. He was incredible in the college football playoff, and he was significantly hurt as well. I don't think it's crazy to have him at number 1 overall. You got Travis Hunter at number 2 to Cleveland. That would be something. Travis Hunter matched up with Jamar Chase for several years in the Battle of Ohio. That certainly would be interesting. Travis Hunter, of course, is a can't-miss guy. Don't hate that pick as well. He's got Cam Ward going as the first quarterback to the New York Giants over Shedeur Sanders. Then he has Will Campbell, the offensive tackle out of LSU, going 4 to New England. At 5, Mason Graham, a defensive tackle from Michigan. Then he's got Shedeur Sanders going number 6 to the Las Vegas Raiders, kind of pairing up for Tom Brady there in Vegas. Tyler Warren at number 7. I know a lot of people perhaps interested in Tyler Warren after the injury to Eric All Jr., but he's simply going to be gone before number 17. Tet McMillan as the first wide receiver there at number 8. I think he's clearly the best wide receiver in this class. Michael Williams at number 9. A lot of people hoping he would be around at number 17. Not according to Daniel Jeremiah. Bit of a surprise here. Tyler Brooker going in the top 10 at that offensive guard position. Cincinnati, of course, needs an offensive guard, another interior offensive lineman. Followed up immediately after that at number 11, Ashton Jeanty at number 12 overall as well. First running back off the board. Then to 13, Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle out of Texas, followed up by his buddy, Jedi Barron, out of Texas as well. Will Johnson at 15. The Bengals certainly love their Michigan players. And I think if Johnson's there at 17, you definitely think about it if you are Zach Taylor, Duke Tobin, and company. And then, of course, you have Jalen Walker at that number 17 spot. Here we go. Walter Nolen is who Daniel Jeremiah has mocked to the Cincinnati Bengals at that number 17 overall positioning. We've talked a little bit about Walter Nolen. Nolen, of course, out of Ole Miss, has played in some big-time football games. And by the way, is having a really strong showing down at the Reese's Senior Bowl. And by the way, he has Campbell, Jahad Campbell, Alabama linebacker, going at number 19 overall to Tampa Bay. Mel Kiper had Jahad Campbell mocked to Cincinnati. But first, the pinned comment of today's video, would you draft Walter Nolen at that number 17 overall selection? Let me know in the comment section. Type Y for yes or N for no. If that ad comes here on YouTube, that's totally fine. Take advantage of it. Get down in the comments. Let us know what you think. Here's what Jeremiah said about Nolen. He said Nolen is a dynamic interior disruptor. He would be a key part of a turnaround under new Bengals defensive coordinator Al Golden. Nolen, of course, is a former 5-star recruit. This is a guy that played really elite high school level football before going to college, was at Texas A&M for a couple of years before finishing out his collegiate career with the Ole Miss Rebels. He's a guy that's got really violent hands and is really explosive at that first step, and that's obviously something a lot of NFL teams really are looking for. The Bengals certainly could use a guy along the interior of their defensive line. I think they really feel really good about guys like Chris Jenkins Jr. and a guy like McKinley Jackson as well, but Walter Nolen is a guy that could probably develop into being a starter in the National Football League. The only thing that I worry about with Walter Nolen is the fact that he might be a project guy. I am not looking for a project guy at this number 17 overall selection. If you are Al Golden, if you are Zach Taylor, you are looking for a guy that can come into your defense and start immediately as a rookie. You really haven't been able to do that with any of the guys that you are drafting. And you sit there and you say, oh, Myles Murphy, he was a project. Well, did you really think he was going to be a project when you took him, or were you just saying that he was a project when you realized, oh, shoot, he's not going to be able to start for us? It's going to be really important, in my opinion, for Cincinnati to get a starter on defense in the first round. That, to me, is priority number one when you're talking about Cincinnati and the NFL draft here in 2025. We'll continue with our show here in a moment. But first, I want to give a shout-out to our friends over at Game Time, because today's show is presented by Game Time. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of different tickets. Still some opportunity to perhaps go down and check out the big game in New Orleans. You can check out some of those tickets on Game Time. Also, I'm really fired up about Reds spring training. That is only a matter of weeks away. Before that is underway, head on down to Goodyear, Arizona. Get you some tickets courtesy of our friends over at Game Time. My two favorite features on Game Time: the seat views. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy with Game Time. Secondly, the all-in pricing. Toggling this feature up front allows you to see your total up front so you don't get hit with any of those surprise fees at checkout like some of those other ticketing companies can get you with. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, the lowest prices, all guaranteed. All right, let's take a look at this next section here of Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft, because there is a guy that I have a lot of interest in at that number 24 overall spot. He's got Malachi Starks falling all the way to the Minnesota Vikings at number 24. Look, if Malachi Starks is available, I'm taking him, and I'm not thinking twice about him at this point, to be completely honest with you. Look, you had holes all over your defense. You need help all over your defense. And as I just mentioned, I'm looking for a guy that can come in and contribute to your football team day one. Some of those edge rushers, some of those interior guys earlier on in the draft, I'm not sure they can come in and make an immediate impact. Malachi Starks, he can come in and be a starting safety for you immediately. There is no doubt in my mind about it. He showed it in Georgia. Did he have the best year in 2024? No, but the skills are clearly there. The competitive spirit is clearly there, and I think he's going to be a really great player in the National Football League. Before we continue talking about Malachi Starks, I want to know your guys' opinion. Let me know. Would you take Malachi Starks if he is available there at that number 17 overall selection? Type 1 for yes or 0 for no for me in the comments of today's video. So Starks is an elite run defender. And he's also a really great tackler, something that your safeties really struggled with all throughout the season. Was Geno Stone and Jordan Battle really good in the run game? No. Were they good tacklers? No. All over your defense, that was one of your biggest issues all season long, was the amount of missed tackles you had. This guy is a sure-handed tackler. He's an elite athlete as well with some great ball skills. That interception against Clemson that he had in week 1, just absolutely unbelievable. One of the best interceptions I've ever seen. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. It also has really quick feet when it comes to getting in and out of breaks. He's a guy that if he needs to match up with a wide receiver, he can do that. Do I feel like Geno Stone has the ability to do that? No, I don't. Here is what Daniel Jeremiah had to say exactly about Malachi Starks. He said Starks didn't make as many plays as we're accustomed to seeing from him in 2024, but people at Georgia rave about his intangibles, leadership, and work ethic. He has the versatility to play over the top or cover the slot. And as I mentioned, he can really do a ton for you out there on the football field. This is a guy that was a 2022 national champion. He was a 5-star recruit, was an All-American in 2023, first-team All-SEC in 2023, and he excels in zone. Obviously, we know that Al Golden likes playing a lot of man-to-man defense, but he's going to play his fair share of zone as well. And a lot of times, Lou Anarumo would run his zone out there, and the Bengals would go out there and just cover air. That's something they really like to do a lot, was cover air. Well, that's not good. You need to cover the football players out there running routes on the football field. That's something Malachi Starks certainly can do. He reads the quarterback so well. Some of the interceptions that he's able to create is just him reading the defense, doing a tremendous job of that. He can be a step slow when it comes to, sinking his hips when he's matched up with some faster wide receivers. So that really is the only drawback, in my opinion, to Malachi Starks. It's really the only thing that concerns me about him and his abilities out there on the football field. But the pro comp for him is Jesse Bates III. Obviously, you don't want to get too carried away with the comps or what have you, but I think you hear that name around the city of Cincinnati, your ears perk up a little bit because Cincinnati really misses Jesse Bates III more than really anybody in the history of the franchise, to be completely honest with you. That guy was unbelievable, and you've been looking to fill that spot, and you've just failed to do so. Kirby Smart, his coach, also compared him to Champ Bailey. But Geno Stone's a guy certainly that needs to be a lot better if he doesn't get cut this offseason. To me, I would cut Geno Stone, but I'm not so sure Cincinnati is going to do that. Signed a 2-year deal with the team. Year 1 was a disaster, despite the fact he was able to create some interceptions for you late in the season and some kind of garbage time situations, in my opinion. But I'm ready to move off Geno Stone. I'm not quite sure this organization is. Brought up Kirby Smart. Let's see what he had to say about his guy, Malachi Starks. Kirby said Malachi is very similar to that in terms of his ability to play man-to-man. When I say similar to that, he's comparing him to Champ Bailey, who's one of the best corners, really one of the best defensive football players of my generation. His ability to play safety. He can go out and play corner if he had to. He's just a tremendous athlete. But with all those accolades, he's one of the most humble, great kids I've ever been around. Be completely honest with you, I don't want to take a shot at anybody on the Cincinnati Bengals team, but I think you could use a guy that could come in and be a really humble guy for you on the defensive side of the ball that can also make plays. I would really encourage you guys to check out some of the interviews that Malachi Starks has done. He really impresses me. Again, this is a guy that should be a senior in college, but he's going to come out early and go to the NFL draft. I'm absolutely over the moon about this guy, Malachi Starks. Again, I don't really think he's going to fall to 17. That's what Jeremiah has. I would be surprised if he did. But for me, it is not a question whatsoever. If he's there at number 17, you take him. Make sure you guys give me a follow over on Twitter. All of our Bengals Breakdown content will be posted to my Twitter page. We are on the road now to try to get to 600 followers on Twitter. So help me out. Give me a follow at StoneShields_.